Serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
The jury is supposed to decide guilt or innocence based on a videotape with nothing more. If that's all you have is videotape, that's all you have to present, right?
If you're a Fargo business owner and you've caught a shoplifter on your security camera, police now may not respond to the incident. City officials say this is a policy change the Fargo Police Department is rolling out.
They're doing it to cut the caseload on officers and prosecutors. Valley News Team's Joshua Pagaro reached out to several businesses to get their thoughts on this.
With the hopes of easing the workload, Fargo police officers will now use their discretion in filing reports for thefts under $500. For example, let's say you're a big box store and catch someone on surveillance video, but you don't notice it for a couple of days. If it's under $500, police officers can now decide whether to respond. We reached out to businesses in Fargo, including the major players, Target, Walmart, and Kohl's, and none of them got back to us. Several mom and pop shops had mixed feelings. One grocery store says $500 is a lot for a small business, but they understand officers wanting to focus on the big crimes. A furniture store in Fargo says they catch people all the time stealing stuff on surveillance, but they write it off at the end of the year. Fargo City Attorney Eric Johnson says the onus falls on businesses to prevent thefts.
So they can do some things to prevent people from walking out of the store without paying for things.
We obtained a memo the Fargo Police Department sent to loss prevention officers at big businesses, alerting them of the changes. Johnson says he doesn't believe this will lead to a spike in thefts.
No, I don't expect one at all. But, again, we'll stay in touch with the loss prevention people, and if there are concerns that need to be addressed, we'll be happy to talk about addressing those concerns.
The new policy for police officers goes into effect on Wednesday. In Fargo, Joshua Pagaro, Valley News Live.
City Attorney Johnson also says this change impacts prosecuting cases that involved home thefts. He tells us it's not enough for a victim to capture someone with a home surveillance camera stealing their stuff.
And she either had the choice either to run into the car or make a sudden left into nowhere, pretty much the light pole.
Eyewitnesses say it may have been a case of distracted driving on Main Avenue tonight that led to two people being injured after a car hit a street lamp in Fargo. It happened in the 1400 block of Main Avenue around 5:15 this evening. The scene is now clear, but the street lamp is still down. The extent of damage to the car is unknown at this time. We also don't know how serious the injuries are. Stick with us here on Valley News Live, on air and online, as we update this story.
A man who police say failed to register as a sex offender has been arrested in Barnes County. 35-year-old Anthony Rowland was taken into custody in Wimbledon, North Dakota. Authorities say he had an outstanding warrant for failure to register as a sex offender. It was also found that he had been living in the city of Wimbledon for several weeks. He is facing an additional charge in Barnes County of failure to register as a sex offender. He was also charged with driving under suspension. In Wadena, police are asking for your help identifying these two suspects on your screen. They say that they're involved in a possible theft case. If you have any information on them, you're urged to call Wadena Police. The phone number's on your screen, 218-631-7700.
A Valley City dog is back home with her owner tonight after spending the week at a local vet clinic. A concerned bystander found the dog injured and abandoned and reported the suspected abuse to police.
Valley News Team's Courtney Lockey traveled to Valley City today and spoke with the dog owner, who says he's just happy she's home.
This is Lily. She's a mixed breed, half Chihuahua, half Terrier. And after a long battle, she's finally home where she belongs.
I think I've slept 5 hours in the last week. You know, she sleeps with me every night. She's right there by my side, and it feels like a home again. Oh, Lily.
Jeff Leber has had Lily for about 5 years now. But when he came home from work Saturday night, he says she was nowhere to be found. Leber said he searched all over for her, and when he finally found her at the vet, he couldn't believe it.
I mean, I thought she was dead in that one picture because her tongue was hanging out. She had and she was bleeding all over. But thank God she's not.
He says someone he knew and trusted brought the dog for a walk, just like they'd done before. But he claims this is the first time Lily was treated so harshly.
You know, Lily can only walk about 2 blocks, and that's it. And she'll just stop. And so she must have just drug her.
Leber says he visited Lily every day at the vet, waiting to get her back. It took longer than he hoped because police tell us they wanted to make sure they had the right owner.
We've taken quite a quite a flack for holding on to the dog, but you know, we want to make sure that we're doing right for everybody and everything, and unfortunately sometimes that takes time.
Chief Phil Hatcher says they are still investigating the incident, but that they are confident they have found the right person responsible for the alleged abuse. As for Leber, he's just glad Lily is home. In Valley City, Courtney Lockey, Valley News Live.
The police chief also says both animal cruelty and abandonment are Class B misdemeanors. Whoever committed the abuse could face up to 30 days in jail and a $15,000 fine.
Roughly 30 volunteers spent their day in Grand Forks training on how to reduce violence in the community. The program is called Green Dot, and it trains community members how to respond when they're in or witnessing a dangerous situation. The key is they will already have practiced the scenario. Green dots represent a counteraction against a red dot in the community, such as an act of domestic violence or child abuse.
What we do is we offer people skills practice so that when they're faced with those situations, they have a lot of tools at their disposal that they can choose from.
While the program encourages doing something in dangerous situations, we're told the volunteers are trained to keep themselves safe first at all times. And although the 30-plus volunteers this time were all women, the training is open to men too.
North Dakota Highway Patrol is cracking down on traffic violations in construction zones. Yesterday, in a 2.5-hour span along I-94, troopers pulled over 21 vehicles and handed out 25 tickets, 20 of them for speeding.
It's obviously important to be safe while driving through construction zones, just given the reduced traffic speeds, the amount of congestion that can happen with traffic, and just the fact that people are out working, that's their office. When we have construction workers doing their job, we want to be safe when we're going through there.
These efforts are part of what's called the Vision Zero campaign. It focuses on eliminating serious traffic injuries and deaths.
A Fergus Falls girl is being recognized for catching a Minnesota butterfly that traveled nearly 1,900 miles to Mexico. Alexis caught and tagged the male monarch at the Prairie Wetlands Learning Center last September. Thanks to her work, researchers have more information on the butterfly's migration patterns and population, which helps them determine if it needs federal protection. Another free monarch tagging event is slated for this weekend.
U.S. Bank Stadium will be roaring again soon when the Vikings hit the gridiron, but some fans might find the action overwhelming. So the stadium has created a sensory-inclusive room, providing fans with autism, dementia, Down syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other conditions a quiet, safe, and soothing atmosphere. The space will also be staffed with licensed behavioral specialists during every home game. The room has a sensory active wall display, sensory toys, earplugs, and a single-use bathroom connected to the space.
It's not just you. It really is getting hotter, way hotter. In fact, last month was the hottest July since record-keeping began 140 years ago. And that's not for your hometown or the U.S., it's for the entire planet. According to experts, this July was 1.7 degrees warmer than last century's average. It's part of a larger trend. 9 of the 10 hottest Julys have been recorded since 2005. It's no surprise that ice is disappearing at the same time. Both the Arctic and Antarctic set records for the lowest amount of sea ice coverage in 41 years.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
Thursday, thunderstorms are beginning to exit our southern and eastern counties. We had some rumbling thunder up and around the Grand Forks area throughout the late afternoon and early evening hours as well. While it's been fairly quiet in the Devil's Lake Basin, only about 1/100 of an inch falling in the rain gauge here in Fargo, with most of the showers staying to our south. That's not the case for everyone as showers move through. A few were on the side of severe along the South Dakota border and points south. Where you see the orange and yellow colors here, some heavy rainfall estimates by Doppler radar. Closer to 2 inches near the Britain area there, and just off to the west of Breckenridge, radar's estimating about 1 inch where you see the yellows and the greens, noticing that most of it just scooted a little bit to the south of the FM area. Those really blossomed as they went through Sisseton with quite a bit of wind and blew into the southern reaches of Traverse County. In and around Grand Forks, we have rainfall estimates of around 1 inch in town, but just outside of town in northwest Polk County, 1.6 inches, and closer to 2 inches south of Grafton. These storms really persisted for some time, and this guy up here in Walsh County, a real slow mover, so it definitely brought along some water. As we head to bed tonight, a few showers moving out of Canada, still heading towards the Rock Lake and Langdon area. Let's see what your hour-by-hour forecast shows about where they're going in a moment. Right now, downtown Fargo looking quiet. It is cloudy, 61 degrees on the thermometer, and we have a southwest wind under 10 miles per hour. Here's the clouds associated with those showers moving through southern portions of Manitoba. They might make it to the international border with a few sprinkles as we go through the early overnight hours, but all of our rain should be ending here very shortly. By daybreak, temperatures slip from those 60s where we are now into the 50s. Where you see the dark colors here, a chance for some patchy, dense fog to start your Friday. So Friday fog first thing in the morning out to the east, and as we go through the mid-morning hours, it just keeps getting better with temperatures on their way up. The wind will be quiet and we'll see an abundant amount of sunshine during the midday hour. In the afternoon, it will actually feel like summer once again. Pretty nice. Those summer-like temperatures could kick off isolated showers or thunder showers, so we can't rule them out, but as you can see here, our model paints that most of the area will stay clear, will stay dry, and the lack of old arrows on Hutch's weather forecast map means not much in the way of wind. Here are the details for Fargo. First thing in the morning on your way to work, looks like mid-50s. As we get going through the mid-morning hours, we'll be rising through the 70s on our way to close to 80 degrees. The winds southwesterly or westerly, generally less than 10 miles per hour. Then in the evening, can't rule out a sprinkle or thunder shower, but it's more likely not to happen here in the FM area. Excuse me, for spotty sprinkles down to the south, temperatures in the mid and upper 70s as we go through our afternoon. Grand Forks 80 degrees, Valley City 79, and you're capping off the work week in Bemidji with a temperature of 76 gorgeous degrees, and that has the butterflies flapping their wings. Cheryl capturing this moorhead butterfly, well, working on the coneflower there. Here's a look at your planning forecast. We talked about Friday now, a pretty fair day, but on Saturday, we're talking about a little bit of a cool down and an increased chance of rain as a little cool front works its way through. Temperatures stay in the 70s for Sunday, but it looks super with a highs returning to the 80s for next week as kids get ready to head back to school.
Not such a bad forecast.
No, not bad at all.
Later on Valley News Live 10 at 10, just as Hutch mentioned, the school year is just days away for some kids. Why now is the time to start talking to them about bullying?